It's a try, but I don't know if it's going to work. I know there's backups running here wirelessly, filling the Wi-Fi, so this may be a bit of a jerky stream for a while. Let's see. Seems okay. It says 4,000 kbs. My morning backup is running late, so I've got one USB port still tied up by the backup. Good morning, good morning. The outdoor camera will come online as soon as my backup is finished, hopefully. Give you a few minutes. 3.65 gigabytes still to go. Sorry, I was out of here. I went away for Thursday and Friday, and I'm back to Ome. Stuff to do. Get some wood blocks and things. Stuff to do back there. Which reminds me, what did I do with that piece of wood? Remind me, show and tell. We have show and tell to reach the roof today. Do the backups on Tuesdays. The backups are daily. We have too much data here. Anyway, so let's get. We have so much stuff to do today and to talk about and to whatever. It's days and days of backed up work here. We'll look at that later, I guess. We got the book. The book arrived today. Look at this pile of stuff. It's pretentious, whatever. Look how important I am because of all these things on my desk, right? Isn't that how it works? It's just stuff on my desk. I'm sorry. Back up. Cleaning up. It's almost finished. Give me a couple of minutes here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, we got the book. What should we do first? Should we look at the book first? You know what we're talking about, right? This is our friends. This is the Atelier Cento. I finally got rid of my quirk of calling them Atelier Bento. Atelier Cento. This arrived from France. As soon as I saw their video, I went to their website, clicked through to the French publisher. It was easy to navigate the website. It was okay. It's all in French, but you should be able to figure that out. And I ordered it, and it came like already right now. And it's cool. I know it's a good fat book full of their stuff. Some of the pictures we've seen before, because it's been all over their website. Classical stuff. They are really good at what they do. You know, these are not woodblock prints. These are watercolor paintings, but they would easily become woodblock prints. I tell you, if we had more resources here, Jed would have to move over because I really would like to do a bunch of their stuff. And the reason I bought the book was because it's just not just pretty pictures. At the back of it, they're running a bunch of sort of tutorials. They're showing how they actually did this. I wish there was more part of this actually, because this is the part I'm really interested in. It's showing how they work through a bunch of sketches first, picking their sketch, then how they refine it. She talks about the details about what they think is important, and then the key part, their actual process, what kind of tools they use to outline this and how they draw it, and then get ready, mixing the colors and layering on. Because a lot of what they do really is appropriate to how we're making woodblock prints, and I really want to learn a bit more about layering the color from watercolor point of view. Anyway, it's a cool book. If you're interested in their design, grab it. It's not so expensive. It was like 25 euros or something. And it came really quickly, mailed right to here in Japan. They're really nice people. I wish we had more contact with them. The backup is done. Okay, let's get the other camera running. Just 1 second, please. I gotta get rid of the drive here. Three, two, one, down. Let's try this. These Magewell video drivers are really reliable. When I was using the Black Magic drivers, you have to set them up like 30 minutes in advance. This is probably going to be plug and play. This is a USB feed from a camera over there coming in as an HDMI. And I could never have done this when I was using the Black Magic drivers. You have to restart your freaking computer. I'm going to plug that in. There it is, just like that. It is plug and play. Quality stuff. I can't believe that. And there's another one. That's what, the main camera is running the same way, and now the street camera. There we go. I couldn't put the camera outside. It's windy and the rain is coming into the entryway, so I could lined up again those cones. I think because of the rain, nobody's touched them. Okay, let's do some work. Here is what we are doing today. Those of you who have seen this before know what's about to happen. An order for the gift prints. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They are starting to move now. Gift print season, because we started a bit early, actually we started on time. Last year we were late. But because we started early this year, it seemed to go after a slow start, but it has woken up with a bang. I was in Ome on Thursday and Friday, and I really wish I had a camera. I don't have one of those, phone things. So I really wish I had a camera because she was trucking. She was packing. I had to help her get to the car. She could carry both hands full of postal stuff. I had to help her with the third package. Okay, you saw these prints the other day, but they're not ready to go through for shipping. Ohio. I screwed up a bit on this, actually. I showed you these prints the other day, then I said off they go to Ome for packing and shipping, and I forgot. They don't have the embossing yet. All these prints get an embossing in this bottom zone here, and they hadn't been done yet. And I was so stupid about it. So I took them out to Ome, and she said, Dave, and I'm like, yeah, what's your problem? Okay, let's find one of the bottom ones here. There must be some test prints here at the bottom that I can use first. Yeah, here. With me, when the printers send us the batch of prints, they send some with the corner lopped off, and these are the ones that are not good to go through. These are the first ones they had that were tests or something. But this will do fine for me to use as a test. What we're going to do here is emboss it. Let's just see if the standard setting on this tool is right. Let's just give it a try. No, needs to be moved up. Okay. The football print. Okay. Football print. Yes, kabuki football. Did the cat print get finished? No, it's just been pushed back. That's the way things go here. There are priority jobs and there are non-priority jobs, and the cat print is just one of those things. It's not scheduled. The priority always goes to subscription prints, because there's nothing else to do. That's the core of our business. So everything has to stop when there's work that needs to be done on a subscription print. I'm not sure if that's in the right place. So let me go get a sample from it. There's a sample file over there. Hang on a second. Better get that and check. しょ。よいしょ。Okay, that's good. We're still good. We're in the clear. These prints will be trimmed later, and I've got to make sure that embossing falls within the trim line. Yes, that's exactly right. So when I carved the embossing block, for all the rest of this print, I left a blank space. Got it? This was all the embossing. It's all one big block to do on this thing, and I left a blank space for this. Now, the original one that I did myself, when I published this myself, my own embossing went in there. It was my own Baron mark for what we used to call the Sesaraki Studio. Now, I'm not printing these, so this is now a publication from the Mocha Hong Kong workshop. So we've prepared a new pattern here. Here it is. There's a pair of them. They're oriented differently up and down. One looks this way and one looks that way. And then I have the Mocha Hong Kong. It's still a Baron mark, but it says inside it Mocha Hong Kong. It's really, really small writing, but doesn't matter. So it's just to differentiate these between the edition that I made myself years ago. All right, I think we are ready to go. Let's do this. So what else is on the tab for today? If I get through this first, the next up, there's going to be no carving this morning. Next up is going to be chiri removal. I got a bunch of prints from Suga-san and Lei-chan yesterday. Or they were on my desk when I got back here from Ona. And they have to be checked. There's bark in them. Ona is waiting for them. I better zoom out a bit. Sorry. Okay. Hi. Other than that, what's new, guys? Yeah, Mocha Hong Kong. Today was see one of them. We've got a couple of different ones. So. Actually, this Baron is not the right one for this job, I think. I'm not sure. It's not quite the right one. I need a better Baron for this. It's upstairs. I better go and get one of the Barons upstairs. Sorry, just a couple minutes here. This is too flat. It's hitting too much on the edge. I need a Baron that is slightly curved a bit more so I can get into the center of this. It's a bit too flat. Let's trip upstairs. I'm sorry. Hang on. Oh, paper out. No. Good timing. Okay, I'm going upstairs for 2 reasons. Look at that. Thank you. Who is this? Chocolate egg. Thank you. Chocolate egg. Okay, back in a minute. Sorry. Oh, it's going to be one of those days. I can see it already. Back in a minute. So, sorry about that. Sorry about that, thank you. Yeah, paper, thank you, thank you, thank you. It was Suvisan and Ishikawa-san. They're finishing up the JJ12. And we are down to the last few days. Okay, let's get going. Too much talk, not enough work. The barns upstairs, you know, it's funny, the way that people use them here, Sukusan and the other staff, they tie them and prepare them in a totally different way than I like. Now these are my own barns, you know, I used to have them in my own shop, my own workroom, so we came here. But tools are arranged and built and edited and adjusted according to each person, you know. So when I was using this bunch of barns myself, I had them set up the way I like it. And none of these guys like them that way. They've all trained a different way. And what they've done is, hang on a second here. What they've done is they've kept them flat. I don't know if you see it, but it really is pretty much of a flat surface here. It tapers off a bit at the corners, but it's mostly flat. And I really, really, really do not like that. So when I'm tying the barns myself, before I put the cover on, there's the coil of string, which we know. Under the coil of string, I put discs of paper, progressively smaller, to put a bit of a crown on this thing. And some painters don't like that, because from that point of view, it only rubs them in one place. And you have to be careful. If you rub too hard, it puts too much pressure on. And from their point of view, because it's only touching in one place, you have to rub here, and then here, and then here, 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 here. You have to go over the whole thing, which is the way I like to do it. If it's too flat, you're looking at too wide of an area. And if there's enough pressure in there, that's fine, it'll print. But to me, that really, really tends to leave goma printing. It's sort of the modern lazy ways, is my cynical view on this. The modern lazy way, they go chat, 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 chat. The barren's flat and wide, it covers a lot, but you don't get nice, good, smooth, deep, rich color. No, whatever. The girls upstairs are doing it, but to me they spend so much more time rubbing and rubbing and rubbing and rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, because there's not enough pressure at any given moment on the barren. That's the way they want to do it. The results are the same, but I think they take way too long. What is this? Are you writing haiku? Raindrops on cones. Murky weather. Mokohankan haiku. Is that what you're doing? There was another aspect of this print that I didn't mention the other day. Actually, when I showed you these, it was the other Cameron-san was sitting here. And I opened the package and showed you the prints. And I noticed something about them that I thought, whoops, I think I better not mention this. I mentioned Chihara-san. She's done a beautiful job. And these gradations are just to die for. She really, really has done a fabulous job. But as I was sitting here looking at the prints, I noticed something was actually wrong. It was missing. I looked at Cameron, because we had the sample sitting here at the same time. And it turns out that the mistake that she's done on these, it's not a mistake, where this bowl has a lacquered surface, and a real bowl would be lacquered. And to imitate the lacquer on our version of this print, when I first did this, I created what's called, I created a block to print what's called Shomenzuri, front rubbing. And the print that I made years ago, I don't know if you can see this, if we can find the angle right. There's just an angle where we get it right. I'm not going to be able to do this. The lacquerware here has a shiny, sir, I can't find the angle. I can't find the angle. Anyway, whatever. So this does have a shiny surface. It's one of those, it's a Shomenzuri. And to get that, what you do is you wait till the print is dried, put it on a reverse wood block, and you rub the front surface with the barrel like this. And just that part becomes shiny. And it has to be done, when the print is dry. So I opened the package the other day from Chiharu-san while you were watching, and I saw that the Shomenzuri hadn't been done. I didn't say anything on the stream, you know, no embarrass her with it. And the reason she didn't do it is because the block we've prepared for that requires that these be separated first. It's not the full long block. You've got to put it in the registration marks backwards. This is the registration corner, but on a Shomenzuri block it goes backwards. You put the registration at the other end over here, and you rub on this part. But the way I cut it years ago was that you have to cut the print first, then do the Shomenzuri. And she couldn't cut it, of course, because this job hadn't been done. So that's what's happening now. I will do this job now, do this on an embossing mark. Then the print goes out to Ome. They will be cut apart, carefully trimmed to exactly the right size. And then Tsushima-san, our printer out there, she will do the Shomenzuri rubbing. I checked with her yesterday about this while I was out there. She has the block all ready to go, and she'll be doing that rubbing as the last step before the prints get packed. Watch all your I don't get much of the OK boomer here. It's not a thing in Japan yet that I know of anyway. I wonder if my daughters are into that. I don't know. This is going to take a while here. We have, I think, 80 sheets, or 88 sheets, I think she had. So this is going to take a while, I'm sorry. It's funny you mentioned that OK Boomer thing, because that reminds me of something that happened this week. I guess I can talk about this. Maybe it might be interesting to get your feedback on this. YouTube comments over the years have been really, really good to us. No problem. Very, very good. Very, very few hostile comments on YouTube. I mean, like one a year or something that is actually hostile. A few people sort of don't like it. They'll type yawn and stuff like that. That's okay. Whatever, you didn't like it, no problem. Go away. The overwhelming number of YouTube comments are very positive. And I mentioned last week or a couple of weeks ago that the YouTube interface has really changed a lot the last few weeks. And it's more difficult to see comments and be involved in comments. They don't show as clearly as they did before. You have to hunt for them, and you have to really hunt to be able to make one. So the number of comments we get each day has dropped dramatically. It used to be really fun reading from me every morning when I was getting my breakfast. And now there are days and days go by with no comments. Can't be helped, I get it. The ecosystem out there is what it is, and there's no complaint about that. But funnily enough, over the past couple of days, there's been 3 or 4 comments that are sort of really polarized and interesting. And they're on the video on actually no, they're on a bunch of mixed videos. So I see all the comments together in one stream at the interface at this end. But I'm not sure you can see it. Hang on a second. Because there were some of the most polarized comments I've ever had. Not much change in the comment interface. I do. I know when I play a video now as a YouTube user, go to the YouTube front page, click on the video and play it. It shows the video, it's got the recommended stuff, and it doesn't automatically show the comment section. It doesn't at all. It shows the show more and something like that, and then nothing below that. And I have to physically, and actually the recent videos I've watched, in the video that I'm watching below it, instead of showing comments, it shows other related videos from that channel. And you have to scroll down below those to the bottom of the window, wait for a moment after pushing your mouse to try and move the window up, and then the comment section appears. So maybe we're seeing a different interface, I don't know. I'm looking at this on a desktop, my laptop. Anyway, there clearly is a difference, because the number of comments we receive has plummeted from dozens every morning to one or two or sometimes none. Maybe it's the interface on mobile, I don't know. So anyway, I guess I should copy and paste this. Hang on. So I can't get to the comment page itself, but I kept a couple of these in my inbox here. For example, here, I'm going to do two things. I'll show you a comment that's sort of a nice comment, and then another comment that has really given me pause for thought. Not because it's hostile, but because it's hostile. Let me explain first. Here's a kind of comment. This was on the Remembering a Carver video. Where's the other one? Hang on a sec. Tick, 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 tick. Excuse me. Here's another. This is yesterday. There's another one. This is a positive comment. So I'm just going to show you positive comments here. And then here, this was also yesterday at 6:20. This next comment in its entirety, and this is okay. I have no problem with this next one. Whatever, blah blah blah. It is what it is. But this next one I'm going to show you now. This is the one that's giving me a pause for thought. Hang on a second. Here. And I'm not showing you this as being, hey, I need your help to defend me and tell me how good I am against negative stuff. I'm going to put this up here for discussion because I'm really curious about an aspect to this. Here it is. Oh, it's over the character limit. Ah. How far did it get? Okay, here, I'll copy it was over the limit, I guess, sorry. Twitch's limit here. I'll put in the last half of it again. And this is interesting because it's the question about cultural appropriation. And we've talked about this before. Over in North America, this is a real thing. And as I mentioned before, my daughters have suggested to me that it would be difficult for me to work in North America, or at least in Vancouver, in their environment, because they felt that people would be against what I do. The cultural appropriation thing is an actual, it's not a meme, it's an actual idea, a cultural concept and a way of thinking. It's like a legitimate viewpoint. You can argue good or bad, or who's doing good or who's doing bad or whatever, but it is an actual real thing. And the reason I haven't worried about it too much, the reason I just tossed off, yeah, who cares, whatever, is because over here in Japan, to date, there has never been anything like that for me. Anybody that I speak to or talk to or we have any contact with here respects what I'm doing. Part of it is because the Japanese themselves are not, basically, the Japanese generalizing, are not so interested in this kind of work And when they see somebody else interested in it, they think, well, thank you very much for liking this. They feel a question of pride about that. And the fact that we're actually doing it and making prints and making money and hiring people isn't a problem for them at all. It's being done, it's being carried forward. The color of my eyes is irrelevant. But here, for the first time, I have a comment from, it looks like a young Asian person. They may be Japanese, Korean, Chinese, I have no idea. And this young Asian person clearly has the idea that they do not want, quote, white people, whatever, people from outside of their culture doing this. And this is the first time I have ever seen this. So I'm not really worried about this specific one comment here now. But this is the first time I've had the intimation that the cultural appropriation thing might at some point be coming over here to Japan and to Asia. And if it does, then that may affect my work here, my career, my life here. So that's why I was a bit disturbed when I saw this. Not for the fact that it's a criticism. Okay, I'm a big boy. People don't like what I'm doing. But if this is the first few drops of what could become a wave, then I could be in trouble here. We'll see. We'll see. So again, I see nothing wrong. Probably the people watching the stream see nothing wrong because you're in here, whatever. And again, I'm not bothered about this right now. But if this becomes a thing, yeah. So I'm not losing any sleep over it yet, but I just wonder how the viewpoint is going to go in the future, because there are social waves and cultural waves that happen beyond our control. And it's quite possible that maybe there might be the next generation of young Asian people who have seen that sort of stuff happening overseas might decide to pick it up for themselves here. And if that does happen, then whatever. I'm happy that I'm 67 and don't have all that long left to do this. At the end of the day, if the cultural wave really goes that way over the next, couple of decades, then that's it. I'll just retire and thanks for all the fish. And there's lots of things I would like to do if it turned out that I couldn't do this anymore. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, just thought I'd share that. I'm not looking for your support. Dave, you're okay, don't worry about it. No, I know I'm okay. I'm happy with what I'm doing. But I just share this for an example of what I'm seeing to happen, what I'm seeing out there. What you're seeing there is a tribal viewpoint. We're our tribe over here, you're the tribe over there, we ain't going to talk to you. And it's the ultimate tribal viewpoint, the antithesis of a normal human civilization. At least the way I see it. You're talking to a guy who married a Japanese girl and had, mixed kids or whatever you call them. So for the kind of person that I am, to see tribalism is just, whatever. I see it as medieval, feudal, whatever. Pre-civilization viewpoint. Getting through this now. Canadian thing, I really don't know anymore what to say. I have a Canadian passport sitting on a shelf upstairs. I'll be using that passport when I go to visit my family. I'll be going over there in February for a touch base with my family. And I also I'm a British citizen. I was born in Britain. I don't actually carry an active passport for them, because I don't need passports these days. But if I want a passport, I can just apply for it. Just pick it up. So British and English or British or whatever that's going to be in the next few years, I don't know, but whatever, British and Canadian. But the way of thinking, I really don't know what to say anymore. I'm not Japanese, I'm not becoming Japanese. I live here, I absorb the culture, I'm part of it. I get along with the language at a reasonable level. I'm certainly not functionally 100% literate. But I can function, run a business, talk to anybody who needs to be talked to and stuff like that. But is my way of thinking Japanese? No, of course not. After 30, I came here when I was, 35? 1986, I was 35, so. It's half my life, give or take. But the first half was spent in a different culture, so there's no way. My way of thinking is, of course, heavily set and structured. I'm not sure about the light, Cameron adjusted the lights and now it's all dark here. And people ask all the time, in the print parties or chatting, Dave, are you going to take Japanese citizenship? I have to say at the moment, I don't have any thought of doing that. I love it here, I'm a productive person working here. But the idea that to take citizenship means to say, I will be Japanese. And it just seems funny to me. I don't feel Japanese. This is a place I live, and it's so much fun, and I enjoy it and contribute to it. But I don't feel, I guess, in that sense that it's mine. I don't know. You lie down on the couch, tell me about your childhood. I don't know. I'm very happy here, but I don't. To take that passport, to go through that paperwork, just seems to me would be phony. I don't know. I can't even really articulate my own feelings about it now. Well, Japan's my home, absolutely home with a capital H. That's absolutely. This is where I live. This is where I belong. This is where I'm happy. I don't feel like I'm an outcast or a guest here, and any minute I gotta leave. This is my home, absolutely. And also, when speaking Japanese, in speaking English, I will say, I'm gonna go to Canada over in February to visit my family. Then I will come back to Japan. I will go to Canada, come back to Japan. In English, you use those verbs meaning where you're standing means go, where you're standing is you will come. That's the normal language here. In Japanese, that's not how it works. We do have those verbs. Iku, kai, we have those verbs. But when Japanese people talk to me about my upcoming trip to go and visit my family, when they say the direction from me going from here to Tokyo to Vancouver, they use the word kairimasu. Are you going to return to Vancouver? And they're not saying this as being evil, get out of Japan. It's just the natural use of the language. For them, because that's my citizenship and they think I was born over there, you use the verb when you're moving towards the place you were born. This is not iku, even if you're talking about going there. This is kairi, return. And then coming back to Japan will be the iku. It's just the way the language works. So when I'm speaking Japanese to a Japanese person talking about that trip, I use the English thinking. Kanada ikimasu. I am going to move towards the direction of Canada in February. And their face goes, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So it's a great example of speaking the language incorrectly to speak it correctly, if you know what I mean. I mean, if I really wanted to speak Japanese perfectly, then in that situation I should use the verb kairu, returning home, when I'm talking about going to Canada, but I don't. So it's really fun. You can really have fun with the language when you're talking to people, I'm missing a lot of the conversation there, guys. I'm sorry. I will catch up later, as always. I do read through these things. So even though I'm not catching your viewpoints here now, sorry about this. I've got to actually do some work. But I will read through this later. Thank you very much for your comments and for your ideas about this. As I said, I'm not worried about this. I'm not looking for your support. Please help me on this horrible person that's made a bad comment. That's not the idea. I am just simply putting this out for discussion. Good morning, Mom. How you doing? see you in a few months, right? This is November now. We'll be over there in February. There's two reasons I usually try and make the trip in Firestorm. No, 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 no. And I'll be over in Canada in February for two reasons. One is because it's our quietest time here in Asakusa. The middle of February, it is tourism death valley, of course. Then you can play bowling out in the street outside, of course, for many days. So it's a chance for me to get away without having to be firefighting and stuff. The subscription series by February should be up and running safely. The other reason is it's my mother's birthday in February, which we sort of cottoned on. When the family used to be getting together, that was one of the times when we did get together. I'm not sure about the timing this time. I know the calendar here is looking, Mom, the calendar is looking like I might be over there in late February. Not quite sure the dates yet. So I might actually miss the actual date of your birthday and I'll be there the week after. I'm not quite sure. We don't know yet. Anyway, I'll be on the way, so don't sweat it either way. That's a taxi. They're short little taxis. The new taxis here in Tokyo are sort of modeled after the old London taxis. The idea being that they've got this high back and a big wide door. You can get in with suitcases, backpacks, whatever. They're of course totally electric, that new series. And I did read, I think we were talking about this a few months ago, I did read a couple of articles about them, that Toyota and various taxi companies and governments had worked on the design for quite a long time. But apparently they're not 100% successful. There's still apparently quite a lot of problems with them. They are quiet too. You can be walking down the street here and these things sneak up behind you. Sitting in the back of a car, unless you've got some bags with you, those taxis are so tight. I do that. When I went to Ome on Thursday, I had my backpack with me and a couple of packages we had to take to Ome. So I've got a backpack, an umbrella in one hand, and a package in the other hand. I try and get in this taxi, the door opens, that's cool. And then now I can't get in there. There's no, backpack has to come off, of course. Now I've got an umbrella, that comes down, I start to get wet. And I've got to move one bag into the seat, the far side, then swivel around the door, try to get in there, put the backpack on the floor, no room for my legs. Those crowns and stuff, they're just too tight. That shouldn't be used as a taxi. Nobody can use that as a taxi. And that's been the de facto standard for all these years. I'm really happy to finally see common sense here. Taxis with room, the door opens, you just jump in, no matter what you're carrying, it closes, bang, off you go. Now the rubbing, what's going on? Okay, I'll stop and show again. People joining the stream don't know what's going on. This is something we do all the time, so the regular viewers know exactly what's happening here this morning. but anybody new perhaps doesn't get it. So hang on a second here. These are prints that have been now printed, they're ready for publication, ready for sending out. The prints themselves are done. This will be cut in two. This is a subscription set. That's the January print, that's the February print. They're embossed, they're beautifully done. But there's a space left in the embossing, a little blank space. And to fill that space, we want to put in who we are, our company. All our prints get marked. And this is a polymer plate. We didn't carve this. This is a piece of raised plastic. It's what's used these days for relief printing. And most commercial printing is offset these days, but some work is still done relief with bumpy stuff with ink. And we use these polymer plates to this embossing. And it's too small there. It's a barren mark. It's a view of our rubbing tool. And inside are smaller characters that say Mokohankan, our name. It's not even really readable, but it doesn't matter. It just puts the embossing in to show who made this print. And as somebody was joking earlier, whatever, this is the Mokohankan Reiwa 12mm seal or something. Years away, people will probably study the different kinds of seals we used, I suppose. I don't know. Shouldn't think about that too much. At least we're really consistent in this. There's the old Watanabe seals are all over the map, and like, did that really make sense? Or when was that made? I don't know. In our case, we've been pretty consistent with this. And also, we document it. We can see what's going on. So future researchers should have no plan figuring out. The cones out front, yeah, we just get them from Amazon. There's no supplier nearby. If there's a local shop nearby for stuff, we really try and use the local shop, because we are a local shop. You know, the stationery we need and the supplies for the shop and the toilet paper and all that kind of stuff. It would be so easy to order it from Amazon. We don't do that. The girls go down to the local what's it called, like Home Depot kind of shop. They buy that stuff, because I really would rather have that shop survive. So the stuff we buy from Amazon is stuff that we just can't actually get locally easily. Okay, we're well past halfway. It's maybe about 25 left. Hang in there, guys. We do have show and tell worth looking at today, so what I'll do maybe is when I finish this job here, we'll switch to the show and tell rather than waiting for the end, because the next job I have, it's working on taking the paper bark out of the other prints. That will take hours and hours. So I'll finish this, do the show and tell, and then move on to the other job, which will take all day. And I'm on party duty today. It's Saturday, lots of parties, and short staff. It's the other way around. The last 2 days, we've had really short parties. And very few party reservations. And we had extra staff, so I had to struggle to get the staff working. We don't have a Holmes here. We have a couple of other similar chains. 2 subway stops up the line, we have a Royal, and that's fantastic. Oh my God, it's fantastic. I wouldn't have thought so when I was living back in Canada, compared to the amount of different kinds of wood and things they have. But here in Japan, in central Tokyo, my God, it's to die for. We did the renovation of the shop here last year, and we were up at the Royal Home every couple of days getting more supplies, and they will do cutting for you. Not many people have a table saw in their home in Japan. So these home centers will just chop it up. You take in your drawing plan, pay for the piece of wood off the shelf, and bang, they deliver to your house all the shelves and whatever it is that you've asked to be cut up. So. Somebody from Tasmania, yes, thanks for dropping in. this is our job, day after day, object after object, one color, one embossing, one embossing. Is that a delivery guy? I thought that sounded like a delivery man's truck. Oh, it is a delivery. Look at that. はい、おはようございます。早いね、今日。
ありがとうございます。
すいません、どうも。はい。なんで早いですね。
ありがとうございます。
はい、どうも。これいいですか。はい。はい、いつもありがとうございます。どうも。頭気をつけてくださいね。
はい、ありがとうございます。
いや、先日デリバリーがぶつかったんですから、本当に気をつけて。
やってます。
どうも、すみません、どうも。You got it. I warned him. Watch out. I did. I did. Oops. That one's done. What am I doing here? That one's done. Yeah, funny for you, it wasn't funny with that guy. What is the delivery? The delivery is, oh, I know what it is. It's, yes. Oh, right. It's the woodblock set for GJ number 1. Here at last. The woodblock set for next year's series. It's not cold, super cold. It's chilly, drizzly, cold. The temperature's probably, it's not freezing because there's no snow. But man, oh man, it feels so chilly when it's cool and yet still raining. It really, really is chilly here. No fun last night. I went out walking for dinner and just, oh my God, snow I don't mind. Cold, clear weather, I don't mind. Drop the thermometer, I don't care. But this stuff, this chilly, wet, the feeling is awful. The thing about the blocks that just arrived and part of the upcoming show and tell, the reason I headed out for Ome on Thursday and Friday. Normally I wouldn't have done that. I would have stayed in the shop working here. Why did I go to Ome on Thursday? It's wood. You've heard me talk about this. You've watched me trying to carve that cat block the past few days, past week or so. Getting more and more frustrated with how bad the wood is. And all three of them, the other two carvers now, Kawasaki-san, who carved those blocks over there, and Chon-san, the young Hong Kong boy, they have now, they're not on strike, but they've rebelled. They've said, Dave, this is pointless. It's pointless, and it hurts them financially. They get royalties. When we carve a set of blocks, I pay them for the first 200 copies, and then they get a carving royalty. They get 8% of retail for everything that's sold after that initial 200 copies. The payment they get for 200 is calculated 16% of retail for the first 100 copies, then 8% of retail for the second 100 copies, and anything after. And I pay them this royalty as an advance for 200 copies. That's, so they can live and survive. They get a royalty on every single print sold after that. No other workshop does this. So every month, Cameron, when he's doing the payment for the carvers, he pays them for the newest job that they've done for us, this advance royalty. Then we've got our computer system just spits out, We sold the 2014, Wolf Goddess print, another 100 copies we printed. She gets a royalty for it. But now, because the wood is so bad and so soft, they are looking at this wood, realizing that we're not going to be able to print more than 200 copies of this and saying, crap, I'm not going to get any royalty. So they have been both, they're not worried about the money, but they know that this is wrong. It's difficult to carve, it's no fun to carve, and it's going to be financially bad for them. So they have more and more, Dave, fix this. And I'm in the same position. I'm carving this, realizing that crap, I'll just have to carve it again in another couple of years. but we don't have hardwood. Every single tree and tree trunk and piece that we've bought in the last few years, we've looked at it, we've inspected it, we've tried to find the hardest wood we could find, and no, it's all crap. Most of the stuff that we have bought and dried and planed and bonded onto our work here isn't even suitable for color block carving. We've talked about it, supply chain is gone. There's nobody up in the mountains choosing good wood. I have no idea how we're going to get it done in the future, but for right now, this is now total crisis time. So we had a little meeting, when was it, Wednesday night, we were drinking and talking about this, and that was it. I said, okay, I give up. You've suggested it before, it's time for me to do it. So Thursday morning, I got on the train, went out to Ome, the shelves where my Hyakunishu print wood blocks are there. 10 years of work, all on beautiful wood blocks from the late Showa, early Heisei era. I picked a few of the key blocks there. We're going to plane them down and use them again. So the Hyakunishu series is going to be consigned to the whatever, and we're going to reuse that wood for this new series and ongoing. There's enough wood in there now to keep us going for a couple of years. We're not going to stop looking for new wood, of course, because if we keep looking for new wood now, hopefully we'll have wood ready for the next, somewhere down the next 2 or 3 years. But for the next few years, that old poet series is going to be fed back into the system. So I had real mixed feelings. I was at Ome there looking through the blocks and pulling this out. You pull out a wood block, I remembered when I was carving it. And we have now got to just throw it into the planer, and out she goes. You're talking about pine, you're talking about oak. I'm sorry, they just don't do it. The specific requirements of the job are really, really, really specific. I know there's lots of different kinds of trees. I know there's lots of different kinds of wood. They just don't do the specific requirement. Modern people make woodblock prints on anything. I know, I get it. But the way we need to do it needs that specific thing. We've tried, believe me, we've tried. Pine is way too soft, and it has a huge difference between summer wood and winter wood. The piece of pine is white and brown and white and brown. It's impossible for us to use such a wood. We need a wood that has a relatively even density through the summer and winter and summer and winter. Yeah, metal blocks, whatever. The Yoshida prints, all those Yoshida prints that we're selling here through the 20th century, they're all made on metal key blocks, So yeah, we could do it. Or the new, the guy carving the laser thing. But even the laser guy, he's got the same problem. Because the laser print that we have in the shop here that's still lasered on wood. He still needs a good hard piece of wood. At some point down the line, this probably won't be ready during my lifetime, I guess, but at some point down the line, there will be, of course, artificial wood. And what I mean is, we have this artificial meat now. They're taking the proteins and stuff and mixing them, and you get it into a machine that sort of grows this stuff as meat. And I see no reason why you couldn't have some kind of vat or tank. There's the right molecules and organic stuff is in there. There's a substrate. And the same way that the tree grows that cambium layer, the cells split and layer on, the carbon dioxide comes in, the oxygen goes out, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. The water and sugars come up from the roots. And if a tree is growing by depositing cells around the outside, it's that green layer inside called the cambium. And it just grows and grows and grows and grows. I see no reason why we couldn't figure out how to do that. You could imagine it being stripped open flat, laid in a bath. It thinks it's the cambium. You've got, nutrients coming over at the right temperature. You could even do seasons. And you would grow your piece of wood in a flat, long, huge bath, but change the temperature, make it think it's summer, then it's winter, then it's summer. I see no reason why that couldn't be done at all. Just replicate the actual biological process that happens inside that cambium layer. And the wood you could get, perfect grain, straight, smooth, 4 meters long, whatever wide. My God, if I was 18 again with nothing to do, that's the research I would like to try and do, Real wood, just grown, real wood in the same way that wood grows, but do it in a vat. It sounds like a Frankenstein nightmare, but we're not talking about human beings here, we're talking about a piece of wood. Leave the forests alone. We all want that to happen. Leave the forest, grow the wood, that takes carbon out of the air. I mean, what's not to like about it? Getting through this, guys. Sorry. How much have we got left here? We're getting to the bottom here. Oh, just a few. Oh. We're here. 1, 2, 3 sheets left. Oh, tell me, I hear noise. Is that Kawai-san going upstairs? Did you see him in the window there? I see what she's done. She's cut the opposite corner on some of these. So she cut the corner because one side was bad and the other side's okay. So I should make sure I do all these corner cut ones because one half of them is still okay. Let me get back there then to the beginning of the pile. Where's the beginning of the pile? Okay, that's done. That's done. Okay, these last two. I see. She cut the corners on one half. Oh no, these are cut on both sides. Okay, we're done. We are done. We're done. Thank you guys for your patience. Okay, show and tell now, and then I'll move on to the next job, which will nowhere near be finished. Where is it here? Let me reach over. Actually, I'll have to go to the back room and get something. Hang on a sec. I'll just dump it on the bench here. We have. I'm going to go and get a couple. I'm going to get some brush. We're going to print this. Give me a few minutes. I'll be back in a second.
何ほら公開するやつで折るのじゃなくて
そう。だからもうそろそろ
3枚ぐらいだもん。いいよ。板3枚ぐらいですよね。2色だもんね。あ、もう何地墨ともう1色か赤だけか。
赤と黒。この
あ、じゃあ2色だ。
そうです。それもうすぐできますから。
すぐできる。
そう。
それで
紙は沢木さんの紙。
で動作するんだよねこれから。
そうです。週末の間。だから今石川さんが土曜日紙が欲しい。
それはいいの。それはいい。
で今品川の塩まだ残ってますか？だから今の隙間この板まだできてない間の仕事ありますか？
それやるならある。じゃあ年賀状は今週末。
週末の間に
分かった。
今日土曜日ですから。そうですね。
それで次のはあと1枚。あと1枚いろいろがいるんだよね。
今届きました。チョンさんが今頑張ってます。
本当。それも週末ぐらいかな。じゃあ
今の年賀状の話は来週の週末じゃなくてもう本当に今夜か明日やる。そう。
これも動作
ですね。
そうなの。じゃあ来週来れば年賀状かな。
お店も。
分かった。じゃあそれはそうでしょ。じゃあチョン君が頑張ってるけどまだ出来上がってないからそれも来週でしょ。
本当に別の仕事。
完全にね。
うちの間で別の仕事考える。そのもの冷凍庫にある。
品川になっちゃうわけですね。いやほら喋って大丈夫ですか？
今ストリーム中ですがみんな石川さんの。
DJ ほら締め切りあるからと思って本当早くやりたかったと思ったんだけど1月の20日ぐらいっておっしゃいましたよね発送。
だから決まってないですけどとりあえず
1日じゃなくてね1日っていうか一5日じゃなくてね
考えられないから。
分かった
もちろんできるだけ早く作りますね。
おはようございます。
Good morning, hello。
わかりました。了解。
本当にタイミング何日まではちょっと本当に申し訳ない分かりませんが今ちょっと考えてください。自分の残った仕事か
来週来ればね
簡単なものが今はがきがある今上に例えばねハンガークラブの紙上にいっぱいありますから板が何でもいいんですが
そうなの？何でもいいの？
そうとか上に板があるもの
簡単なの？
そう簡単なものでも
何あれイマジナリーがなくなったな
っていうちょっと分かんない少なくなったものこれもありますがだから時間がもったいないから何でも作ってください。もし一番いいですが一番少ないものが先日安井さんからやっちまってはい右はいまっすぐゴーやす
誰がやるのこれ
ですがこれ今在庫少ないよ
できないよこんなの私
まあ
潰しにこのせいでしょ
ですが年賀状の板ができるまでちょっと見てください。
そういうことで紙はあるとおっしゃってるんですよね。
上にハンガークラブのための紙いっぱいありますから。ペー
板もある。
だから上にいるわけですから。Okay, and we're still on a stream here. Actually, I'm still live streaming, so hang on a second. You're quite early today.
No choice.
No choice, what do you mean?
Because of the time scale.
そうか。東京発のAlright, streamer, sorry about all that interruption. Excuse me. Okay.
No problem.
No, I'm talking to the stream here. We're live streaming here at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. No, but I mean, I'm talking to these people too. So. Okay, it's the same thing. It's the wood problem. So what we got, this came in from a place I got on Yahoo Auction last week. And this is a hard chunk of wood. This is to die for. This is the kind of wood that we used to be able to get just by phoning Shimano-san, calling it. It would arrive the next day. A couple of days later, this one's been used, but there is one, there's lots of empty space on it, and two, it is thick. So we're going to be able to split this perhaps in three and get 3 boards out of it, or at least 2. The question for me though is the top surface. Is this something antique that we should be preserving, or can I just plane this off and throw it away? The reason I'm a little hesitant is because there's something interesting about it. First off, let me just print a little piece of this to see what's going on. Sadako-san, how's your kanji reading ability on older stuff here? This is an old block. This is Toshinen, desho? Because can you read those? None of us. So, none of us have been able to figure out what that
免
says.
許の年。
何？
免許の許だね。の年。
Menkyo. Then what this is the piece of wood here is some kind of, there's a space here. Have a look, see how this works.
Any hint?
So over here, these are hints, look. It's some kind of thing that will be printed and then filled in with a person's name. This says Dono. This gets backwards, of course. So when this is printed, somebody would then fill it in. So the name would go here. They would draw the name in. Buru Dono. And then it says here, and then it's a date. And this is Showa X. So Showa, you would put the name in Showa 2 something, no, Showa Nannen Nangatsu.
And just fill in.
So they would fill it in after printing it.
Yeah.
But look at this. This part that says Showa is ireki. It's been cut and inserted. So when this block was first carved, it was before Showa. It would have been,
Must have been.
I guess, Taisho. It's possible it was Meiji, and then they cut it out, put Taisho in, and then cut it out and put Showa in. But this is at least Taisho, because the part that says Showa is inserted later.
Should be older.
So this first section, let me just print this in 3 sections here. This first section, it's this place that has the room for the person's name and the date. Let's take a rough printing of this here. So the part of the certificate, so the name would go here. It would be Ishizaki Dono, something Showa Nannen Nangatsu. But and it's really, look at this. It's got kasure carved carefully. It's really, really beautifully carved. So I'm talking three ways at once here to show.
吉田。宇治家の何々家、石垣家、ブル家、家の門斎殿4、10、イグリス。
Okay, then the main body of the thing is this next section.
Any more hint?
I know nothing about it. It's just a piece of wood. That's all I know. We had trouble reading any of this. So this is the main body of it. So that's the part. That would be at the left. There would be a certificate saying Nani Nani Dono, the person's name, and then the date would be here. And then this is the main body of the writing. And then at the end is the final little thing, which again we cannot figure out. And this is something that was reused again and again and again and again over a period of many, many, many years. To the point that they would even take trouble of carving the block out and putting a new slug in that has the new name era. Can you zoom in a bit?
名目は読めるね。と、
Now, this is interesting. Sadako is an educated, really well educated, top university in something, and educated, and he still has trouble reading this. So some of these would be really, it would be either flowery or archaic or very formal. This is a certificate that will be printed, and you bow and receive the certificate from somebody, and we have no idea what this says. So the reason I'm bringing this up is before I destroy this thing, of course. I mean, old wood blocks like this are available by the thousands. Every flea market has them stacked up and smashed around and nobody cares. So, but I just have to be careful with this before I shave it off. So step 1, what we're going to do, step 1, at the very least, is take the resaw, and we're going to cut this. Let me get my pen here. We're going to cut this. At the very least, what we'll do is cut it. Where's my saw? We will cut it in half. This is plan A. We will keep and preserve the front side with this lettering on. And then the back side will be a clean piece of cherry that we can use for ourselves, for our work. The guy with we can't do this here at Mokanka. We need a big, big saw to do this. But because this is a really dense piece and it's straight and flat, he may say, okay guys, tell you what, I can get 3 out of it. And if he can get 3 out of there, then we're up and sailing, because the front half will be preserved, and we have enough, 2 more pieces to bond to a piece of plywood to get beautiful, beautiful wood. Now that's a bit dicey, because if we remember that after resawing it, that wood is rough. It needs to be sanded and planed and cleaned. So after bonding it down, we may not be able to get a piece of wood thick enough. So it may turn out to be, we'll cut this in half, and if we can possibly get it, we'll cut it in 3. And it's to die for, a piece of cherry to die for. Common when I was younger, but we never see it now. She's thinking about this. It's going to take a while, so we may not have an answer for that.
I know.
Also, another reason why I don't really want to destroy this, because it's a wonderful example of kasare bori. You know, how much can you see this under the light here? Let me try and find a place to get the camera here. Try and find the right angle. Let me, she stole that. Let me print another sheet so I can show you. Just print a couple of characters here.
Do you have any dictionary of letters?
No, we just use the net. Of course, we don't use an actual book anymore. We just.
Can we use this?
Yes, of course, of course. No, yeah, or you can use the main of my iMac right beside you. Before. Let's try and find this side by side. It's so black, difficult to see, but you can see them. Look at in the lettering here. Where's my pointer? We have this. Look, you see this scratchiness here. It's imitating an actual brush, of course. Normally a brush is full of ink. It starts at the top, and as it goes down, it loses ink as the person pulls back. So if you didn't know any better, this looks like actual hand-drawn calligraphy, but it's not. This is all done with scratching and cracking and fine carving in the middle. And this thing on here. This character, again, the light is very difficult to see under this camera angle, but the carving is exactly the same. There's 2 words for it. One is kasure bori, kasure, scratch, carving, kasure bori. And one is called sabi bori. Sabi is kind of rusty or old looking or worn. So sabi bori or kasure bori. And it's really, really, really well done. There's no way I want to destroy this woodblock. The piece of paper, the lettering, the whatever, this historical interest or not, I don't care. But for me, this is an example of beautiful craftsmanship. In fact, now that I've looked at it more closely, I can tell you, there's no way we're going to be playing this off. Plan A, Plan A is do what I said, split the block in half lengthways, keep this front half because it's so cool, and then use the back half for wood for our next year's print series. We should be able to get in and see that. Well, as I said a moment ago, we'll in thirds if we can get away with it, but that may leave it too thin to be usable. So in half for sure, in thirds I'm not sure. Ah, I see the white paper. Yeah, I got you. Okay. Well, there we are. Anyway. So if I pull the white back, it'll spoil it again, right? Is that the idea? Yeah, okay, there we go. So in and out. Anyway, first step, there you are. There's the scratchiness, and now without the paper. Thanks, John. Yeah.
We have a dictionary.
Pardon me?
No. You have a special.
Sure, at home I've got a wall full of dictionaries, but this is a shop. I don't know.
You should keep them.
This is a shop. We're trying desperately. Doisan brought a pair of research books, and they're just in the way there, so, you know. Yeah.
Research. Very nice dictionary.
I know. This is a shop. We don't normally need that stuff, so.
Yeah, it happened the last time the lady visited you.
Yes. Yeah, this is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to split this in half. We've done this many times with older blocks. We've talked about this on the stream before. When we get a block like this, we will cut it either in 2 or in 3, depending on the width of the wood and how good the bandsaw condition is. And then the stuff we want to preserve, we bond it immediately to another substrate, to a plywood block. And that will preserve it forever and ever and ever and whatever. And the other 1 or 2 sheets of wood that we got off the backside, we bond those to a plywood core, and off they come. So yes, we would love to make this wood useful again. But again, we're not interested in destroying something that really is worth keeping. Yeah, bandsaw. We will take it to a bandsaw professional. This is way too wide for. We have a bandsaw at home in Ome, and it'll take about this thickness. But this is so hard and dense. Our little toy bandsaw just will not chew through it. So Ayam-san on Monday morning is going to be taking this and the blocks that I brought back from Ome. I talked about that a half an hour ago. He's going to be taking a whole bunch of these old blocks over to a workshop in Kiba. We're going to split them off, and next week we'll be up and running, hopefully, with some new blocks. So you saw me working on that cat print. This is now history. I'm not going to continue this. It's just the wood is too awful. I will be starting again on this next week with a brand new piece of wood. A brand new piece of wood. Okay, there we go. It's pretty much time to finish. What I'll do is I'll just bring up my next job to show you what it's going to be, and then I'll be doing that for most of the morning in the shop here. Pardon me? The next job for me this morning we'll be checking this. This is a pair of prints that came back from Dei-chan upstairs. These are not my blocks, these are old Doi Hanga blocks. And this is a new print now, that will be going into our catalog. It'll be going as soon as we get a scan copy and get it up and running. It's Tekiho. The artist's name is Tekiho. We have a number of Doi Hanga prints full all back by Tekiho in the shop. And this is the first one, small size. And Dei-chan has done a really nice job. It's a bit, maybe if I turn that light off, I'm not sure if you can see under this different light, but the print itself has its own glow. There's a background block to it, and she has printed gradation from the top, gradation from the bottom, together with the image things. It leaves a misty glow around this boat. And these are so nice. There's nothing Japanese about this. It's what's called Nanga. Nan is south, southern pictures, and it was a genre in Japanese painting from the Meiji era up until about the war or so. This is not ancient Edo era stuff. It's Nanga, southern painting. And of course the themes are all Chinese. It looks like, Chinese misty landscape paintings. And this is how they did it. I don't know, the blocks are upstairs, but they carved it twice. The carver had to carve the same thing side by side twice. Twice as long to carve. But once you're printing, bang, 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 you can make it almost half size, or half the speed. So this will be in the catalog. If it's, Cameron will probably be doing this in the catalog Monday or Tuesday. It'll be the same price as all the rest of the prints in the catalog there, the Honda Club prints. Okay, I am out of here. It's now 9:26 on Saturday. The next stream will be Monday morning, and I will be doing one of 3 or 4 things. I will be probably carving the New Year card. I will have to put the cat away for a few minutes. The octopus is waiting while I do the cat, which is waiting now while I do the New Year's card block. Because as you heard Ishikawa-san talking about it, they are getting worried. The post office deadline is December 25th, and we have to print 700-800 copies of that thing. So I am out of here. See you Monday morning, 48 hours, minus 90 minutes, finding a New Year's card print. Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Thanks for your support on all the discussions that have been going on. I'm going to have fun reading them at lunchtime or later tonight. See you then. Bye-bye. Camera 1. Down. Let's zoom in on this thing. She did such a nice job on this. I'm really happy. She was complaining about it. Oh, it's no good, it's no good, it's no good. Look at this. She did a beautiful job. Misty. Okay, I'm out of here. Thanks, guys. See you Monday.
上エアコンつける